just when you thought it was safe to go onto iTunes. This is Next Level Guy, the only website that makes self-development as fun as going to the movies. It's time to take the red pill and escape the Matrix.
What's happening, guys? It's time for another episode of the Next Level Guy Show podcast with your favourite shooter, Ian Dawson Mackay. Next Level Guy is the go-to men's interview, interest and improvement website where I quiz the experts to find out the hacks, tips, methods and protocols that you can use to implement in your own life to take it to the next level and live happier, healthier, wealthier, sexier and so much more. Today's guest is BJJ competitor, coach and YouTube sensation Alec Baulding. And that's Balding like the hair, not Baldwin like the actor. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Romero, and I'm going to probably butcher this, Cavalcanti, and he holds many victories over the top competitors, and he's won multiple competitions, including the 2018 ADCC East Coast Trials, which means he's an awesome Jiu-Jitsu competitor. In this interview, we talk about his story, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's life-changing ability, preparing for competitions, his mindset, how he trains, how to keep evolving your BJJ game, and so much more, and how to do it with a big smile on your face. I'm a massive fan of Alec, and you will be too after this interview. So let's get to it. I hope you enjoy. So, say if I met you and we're between floors in a lift, and I asked who you were, and why you're well known, what would you say?
I mean, I think, I would just say, my name's Alec. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been training for 15 years. And I've just always been attracted to martial arts just from watching like Dragon Ball Z and watching like, old karate movies and kung fu movies. And I think that kind of sparked my interest in martial arts even before it became more mainstream like it is now. With my training, I've been able to travel. I teach. Currently, I'm in Sweden, Gothenburg, Sweden. I teach at Valhalla Jiu-Jitsu along with John Thomas, another awesome black belt. And, my goal is to promote Jiu-Jitsu as far as I can, through my social media, my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube. And, just keep putting just positive energy out there because so many people have helped me throughout my journey and still help me. So, whatever I can do to help others promote jiu-jitsu and show that it's a healthy activity, it's safe, and it's a great way to develop yourself.
Oh, awesome. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about a year now and I absolutely love it. But what I struggle with is that there's a counter to the counter to the counter that you've just learned. That it's so deep and it's so involved. But how did you initially get into martial arts? Was there was it just that you liked the Bruce Lee stuff, or was there an event that made you start it?
I think I always liked sports. I played, growing up in America, we play like football, American football, play baseball and basketball. So I was always pretty active. I just don't think I really like team sports. So I think just martial arts is very like individual. It's I saw that it was a great way to develop myself and develop discipline, which you can't really get nowadays in too many just activities or just your normal day life. Like most people don't have to discipline themselves, but in martial arts, you're eating healthy, you're training, you're working out. You got to sit there and learn the technique and apply the technique. So I remember I was in high school and I had a friend he did Taekwondo. And I was really interested in it. I never did any martial arts. I had done other sports before. So I kept, asking him questions and bugging him. So eventually he told me to try it out one day. So I trained Taekwondo before I did Jiu-Jitsu. But I remember doing research in online back in the early 2000s. And there would always be videos about jiu-jitsu versus karate, jiu-jitsu versus taekwondo, jiu-jitsu versus just everything. So I kind of had an idea that I wanted to try jiu-jitsu. I just didn't have the resources to, go and train when I was in high school. But luckily, I just happened to grow up in a great area for jiu-jitsu. We had the Alliance headquarters very close by, and that really got me into just training. I always wanted to do jiu-jitsu even when I was training taekwondo, but I just got lucky in that I had awesome instructors uh, near me that I could train with, which wasn't the case in too many places at that time period.
So, was this something that you think that you kind of just fell into and became a career, or what would you have liked to have done as a, what was your favorite job as a sort of a kid? What would you have liked to have gone into if you hadn't become a martial artist?
I don't know. Before I did martial arts, I had taken a break from athletics, so I was just in school studying. I went to a school with like a technology focus, so I was really into that. I was kind of a nerd. Still am a little bit, I guess. So I even when I started training jujitsu, I never thought that I would be doing it as a career, because I didn't know anybody really outside of like world champion instructors that were really doing it, and these guys were all Brazilian too. So I never thought that it was an option or that I would have the ability to do this. So I'm not sure. Maybe I would have been like a scientist at NASA or something, or math teacher or something. But I just stuck with my training, and I think if you get to a high enough level, it's just like, oh, I can actually do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love your videos. They're so fun, but you explain it in such a detailed way, but such an understandable way. And I've learned so much from your videos. And you look at the stuff people struggle with as well. Like I like some of the ones of how to deal with a particular hook without being swept, or why you're always giving up losing the back when you're trying to take it. All the things that a lot of other guys don't really cover as much. They kind of do the more like cool side of jiu-jitsu, where you cover all the like where people are actually struggling, and it's like you're in my head going, what's Ian struggling with today, let's put a video out, and it fixes so many problems I've had. But has there been like a small change that you've made recently, or when you started, that's really helped you with a massive improvement, like in your performance, or have you gone to the gym and has it helped like building your strength, or is it finding a particular style of game for you? What's worked best for you?
I think just experimentation. I feel like I've tried a lot of different things and training methods, and I've done everything from like training 3 times a day to like weight training to like weird diets. I remember I did like the Atkins diet back when it was popular. It was like the very low carb. I think just a lot of experimentation over the years with diet and exercise and sleep and training. But I think the most important thing for me now is just having that experience to rely on, and just being more confident, because it's amazing what you just not you, but like including you, like everyone is capable of so much, and a lot of it, we just doubt ourselves so much, and we kind of hinder ourselves a lot in our performance on the mat. So I think for me, just feeling comfortable in my skills and my abilities, and just kind of letting myself just uh, just enjoy the sport, enjoy the match or whatever I'm doing. Um, it's kind of hard to put in words. It's just like so many people overthink. They're thinking about like 8 different things, and it's just like, dude, you know what to do. Just kind of relax and just kind of just rely on your training. So I know for me, like I make sure I prepare beforehand. I do a lot of preparation for whatever positions I know I'm going to run up against, and then it's just like when it's time for the match or in training, just I don't really put too much pressure on myself. I used to a long time ago, but it just had the opposite effect. Like I couldn't perform. So I think that's what a lot of people do that I stopped doing recently, or yeah, recently I stopped doing.
So how did you manage that? Because that's something I really struggle with. You know, like I'm still at the stage where if I'm rolling with somebody and I could maybe win, say, 3 out of 4 matches, the one match that I get tapped in will be the one that I worry about and I look at, and maybe my head goes down and I look at it as a bad night. I don't know how. I'm struggling with that aspect of jiu-jitsu. How do we stop comparing ourselves to others? How do we turn off the look at, trying to juggle 50 different things and actually just enjoy it and be in the moment? Yeah, how did you learn to do that?
I don't think it was easy. I went through a lot of just a lot of trials and errors. Um, I don't know. I think you just kind of, in jiu-jitsu they always say, hey, you gotta let go of your ego. But I think for me, I just kind of, I don't care about looking like a fool. I think I'll never forget. I did a tournament and here in Sweden, and I was fighting a kid named Tommy Langaker. I'm sure you know him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I was fighting him, and man, I was doing okay, and then I think I was winning too, and I got caught in a triangle, and all my students were there, and then I got caught and had to tap out, and then like I just remember I wasn't really upset. I was just like happy, like I was able to do like certain moves that I've been practicing, and I was just happy that I was able to do my moves, and of course got caught, but like I didn't have any malice or anger or anything. I think I think just not worrying so much about like how you look or how you think your instructor's gonna think about you if you tap out, or if you lose, or how other people perceive you. I think you just need to look at yourself like think of yourself like when you trained and your progress up until now. And don't worry, like I don't really worry as much about other people or their games. You just like look and see if you've been progressing. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we had this conversation, me and a friend of mine, and I was saying, "Oh, I didn't think I was really good tonight," and then I stopped and went, "But yeah, but my cardio's really come up. My flexibility, like because I'm 6'3", I used to be a power lifter, so I'm a big boy, and I've lost a heap of weight, but I can now get like rolling legs over the head and touch the floor without suffocating. I can do all that, and those are the sort of things I think we forget that
Yeah.
when you get to blue belt, it's above your progress is always going to be small, but you're going to be improving. But because we spend so much time rolling and training and learning the advanced stuff, your progression isn't going to be as big as at white belt, where you're really learning the fundamentals and the concepts. So you're not going to advance as much, but you're going to get a little bit better each time. And I think it's difficult to be easy on ourselves because in today's society, we have like social media and things like that. So we're used to judging ourselves against other people's videos, other people's like tweets and likes and all that kind of stuff. But that thing about we're judging ourselves against other people's highlights. You're putting your whole life against somebody's manipulated photo that they've tinkered with, that they've taken 50 times and got the best light, and we're thinking that's them, where we know in reality it's not. So how do you go? Like, do you have such a thing as a normal week? Because you're putting out amazing content, you're going off and training, you're competing. You seem to have an amazing life, but I mean, do you have such a thing as a normal life? Is it just you go train, go home, eat, sleep? Like, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I go through phases where it's like have like a pretty set schedule, which I like. I think that's when you need like that kind of time to make progress. If you're traveling a lot, you're not going to be able to train the way you need to progress. But I have a normal schedule, like have classes I have to cover and teach, and I try to work out a few times a week, and there's things I like to do as well. Hang out with my friends, try to make some time to hang out with my friends. But I just everything's in preparation for like whatever tournament or whatever trip's coming up. So I just try to make sure I'm ready. So I'm actually going to America now. So I kind of did like my hard training the last few weeks. So oh, my screen's going off. I did my hard training for the last few weeks. So I know when I go to America, I can kind of not train as hard, but I should be okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's always going to be something normal going on, and I think for me, like, I don't know if you follow my Instagram or anything.
Oh yeah. I've subscribed to that, to your Vimeo, to your YouTube, you name it. I'm a bit of a stalker at the moment.
But I just film like my normal training sometimes, and sometimes that's like it's not always exciting, but there's always little moments throughout the day or the week that are kind of like stand out. And if I'm lucky to get it on film, that's kind of cool too. And I think a lot of people they want to see like an athlete's training, like normal schedule, normal training. So I'm trying to include a little bit of that some more.
So, what's your take then? Of like the recent surgence of jiu-jitsu being cool. You've seen all these like celebrities and things like that. What do you think of that kind of stuff? Is it getting to the point where does it dilute the sport and make it the cool thing to do rather than being the sport that you enjoyed when you see the likes of Jonah Hill and the guys from Saved by the Bell and all that kind of doing it? Do you think it's a good thing or does it kind of take it away, in your opinion?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's just making jiu-jitsu more mainstream and more eyeballs on the sport and the art form. I just remember when I started, I was kind of like, a little ashamed or I was a little embarrassed to like tell people I did jiu-jitsu because they would always be like, "Oh, that's karate," or "Oh, it's gay" or something. And like people, they just didn't understand it. It was like very niche. It was a very niche like activity, so only the most like diehard people really did it. And so that's kind of how I grew up doing jiu-jitsu. Like I didn't really tell people I did jiu-jitsu or anything. So now it's kind of cool that people understand it and it's more accepted. So I think it's a good thing. It's only gonna make more people kind of want to try jujitsu or maybe want to watch like those pro fights or support other tournaments and stuff. So I'm just I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how much jujitsu's grown and it's growing. So I think it's only gonna help improve the
Because
sport.
it's one of those things, isn't it? It's when people first see it, they start saying, "Oh, it's just two guys in pajamas cuddling," and it's difficult to make them understand that there's some amazing skills and defense and attacks happening there. But I can see why some people think it's just homoerotic, shall we say? Um,
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
mean, it's completely changed my life. I mean, I used to suffer really badly with my depression and stuff like that. And when I started, I lost a ton of weight. I got flexible, but I met a heap of like guys who were always wanting to better themselves, like coach guys who were really enjoyable, wanting to help you out. That showed you where you were going wrong. That there was no obviously there's a couple of people here and there who are a bit of douchebags, but you got the majority of people who were there to help you improve because they were getting improved themselves. And I think that's the thing is people look at it and say, "Oh, that's scary," like guys getting thrown over your shoulder and
Yeah.
choked out and stuff like that. But it's very primal. It kind of I can't remember the last time I went into training and didn't come out and not remove all stresses, be happy, and just look at and enjoy life and be in the moment because you tap into like a physical energy. Is that what you enjoy about it? Do you think? How do you keep going? Because you've achieved a lot. You've won championships. You've got a great following on like your social media, your coaching. You compete like against world champions and stuff. What keeps you motivated? What gets you jumping out of bed in the morning and wanting to go and train 2, 3 times a day?
I think it's a few different things. One is just habit. I think as you get older, you just get into a habit of training. It's just part of my life, like my lifestyle. Like I'm not gonna, I don't feel normal unless I'm at the gym a little bit training. And then there's the social aspect, seeing my friends. I'm sure you get to see your friends and you're happy and you get to chat and talk and play around and stuff. Another aspect for me is just progressing. I think, when you first start jiu-jitsu, you're a white belt, and like that, just seeing that you're getting better every time you train, like it's kind of addictive. And as you train longer, like you kind of got to chase that a little bit harder. You have to train harder to see progress. So when I'm going to the gym, I'm always looking to get better in my positions, or maybe tweak some things, or maybe something's on my mind and I want to kind of work it out, or I'll see something at a tournament. I'll see some tournament footage. I'll flow grappling, and then I'm like, hey man, I need to try this. I think I had really great instructors coming up, so they kind of helped instill like that kind of just mindset to jiu-jitsu. It's never ending. You have to keep staying sharp. You have to keep learning. In fact, I actually was taking a private lesson today. There was a guy named Matthew Tesla. He's a Danaher guy. He's in Sweden here for like a week. And so I just, I wanted to learn some leg locks, and had some other guys that they're going to do the European trials, ADCC trials. So we just decided to do a private lesson with Matthew Tesla. So it's things like that. Like, man, I'm still learning new stuff and trying to work the techniques, and I'm sitting there messing it up still like a white belt. So it's fun, and I think it's never going to end. It's always going to be like that.
No, I love that. You're keeping it fun. You're keeping it going. You're making it like you're keeping the excitement alive. Because like I've been doing it for over a year now, and I've barely touched the surface of what you can get from it and what you can develop in skills and that. Yeah. And it's such a deep ocean to swim in, and I think that's what a lot of people will struggle. Like they get the initial self-defense stuff, and then it starts getting more and more complicated. So what would you say to somebody who's started, like say they're at a white belt level? What would be this thing that you would say to your average white belt to keep them on the straight and narrow? How would it be different to something you would say to a blue belt or a purple belt? Is there something that you like a kind of tips that you notice, or is there a reason people kind of drop out at those kind of stages?
I mean, it just varies. Everybody's different and has different life circumstances. I think I tell people the same things I tell myself internally. Jiu-jitsu's not easy. And I can tell you, like, I deal with, like, a lot of beginners. So we always just focus, instead of trying to, like, tackle jiu-jitsu head on as, like, one major topic, we always just try to help the, like, new people just learn a position. For instance, like here at Valhalla Jiu-Jitsu, like, we do a lot of, like, spider guard. So like a white belt, they come in, they're going to learn spider guard, and we just keep reinforcing that position. And I think that makes it a little bit easier, because if you try to like do passing and submissions and sweeps and everything, like it's too much. But if you can kind of narrow your focus down and just get comfortable, find positions that you're comfortable, and just kind of work from there. And I know you gotta, people, they want to work all this new stuff. They look at Instagram. They want to do that technique they saw. But like we kind of stay really on top of people to just understand the system at the gym first, and then they can start experimenting and adding new things. I think that's been the best approach that I've used for like helping new people. And then with blue belts and purple belts, to just reinforce like, hey man, make sure you're sharp on your spider guard. Okay, now start adding in some other guard positions. Okay, now you can work your attacks and your submissions. But don't tackle everything head on. That's too much stuff.
Because it's very similar to how we got taught. Like my coach, Professor Ricky Gillian, he's a black belt, and that's what he was saying, was that if you're training with like some new white belts, trying to explain an over-under pass or a knee slice pass to them, like where to grab and where to move and the steps to go through might be overcomplicating it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't take it in. But if you just said to them, push the leg down and like push your leg on top of it, or you really break it down basics, people can get that because they can put it to their day-to-day life. But as you progress, there's all these little things you can tweak and change and that make it more effective. And I think that's the thing, is like not overcomplicating people when they first start.
Yeah.
So how did you find that when you did your personal training session? Do you enjoy being a beginner? Do you enjoy making mistakes? Is that the part of it that's fun for you to learn something new, or does it annoy you even?
Yeah, I always learn something new or find little details. I think just for me, like I'm not afraid to look like like an idiot or a fool. So I think I was definitely messing up some things. We were working like these heel hook variations, and I think for me, like I was messing up, but the Matthew Tesla was a really good instructor, so he told us like all the steps, and I would sit there and repeat the steps. Okay, track the heel, pull it towards my chin. Like I was just repeating everything he said as he was watching. And I mean, I don't like making mistakes. I don't want to look like a fool, but I'm okay if I look like a fool. So that kind of pushes me to like, okay, I want to do better. But I think, you always gotta, if you want to do jiu-jitsu for a long time, man, you just have to have that white belt mindset. That's the only way you can keep going. Because if you think you know everything, man, there's going to be a new move that comes out the next year, and you're not going to know anything about that. You're going to have to learn just from the ground zero, pretty much.
Well, I can remember when I first started, I was 34, 35, and some of the guys I was going in to train with who were starting in the same beginners class were like 23, 24, all like built like brick shit houses, 6 packs of muscle, and I'm sitting there going, oh, for God's sake, the big heavy beast of a thing, and I started trying to be like them, and be the speedy guy and that, and then when I found pressure passing, it was like, it opened up an entire different way. And, I was tapping blue belts. I was holding my own against purple and even beat a brown belt at one point. And it was because I was learning how to use my body the correct way, Is that where a lot of these guys are going wrong when they first start, do you think? Is it that we're trying to be somebody else, that we're not learning to use our bodies correctly and we're not developing our own style of jiu-jitsu? Is this... Do you know what I mean? Is there a thing that you see in people when they first start to when they become maybe more successful down the ranks that you go, that's why, because they've expressed themselves through their jiu-jitsu and how they act?
I think for me, what I've seen is that the students that do the best, they're good at 2 things. One, they listen. And that's like probably the most important skill set in jiu-jitsu or anything. Just being able to listen and take feedback. You'd be surprised how many people, like, I try to help some people, even like my students, and they're like, oh, thank you. They're very like confrontational. Or you're trying to coach them at a tournament and you're like, hey man, try this, and you see, like, man, they're not listening one bit, and then when they lose, they're upset. They're upset at you because they blame you. They blame the coach.
It's an unusual approach, yeah.
Yeah. So listening, I think, man, that's like the number one thing. If someone's coachable and can take feedback, and then my second thing is if they utilize the technique that their instructor's showing, or just whatever they're doing, like they do it technically. Because I see it so many times. A guy, like, they try a technique a second and they get frustrated, and then they just kind of like they do some crazy thing they just thought up on the spot, and then you just can't coach. You can't help someone with that that type of game. So it's just those 2 things have. Like, I've seen it so many times. Like, the people that are coachable, like, I feel like they get more help from instructors, number one. And they just like they're more efficient because they're getting more feedback, they're giving feedback. And if something's not working and I go, hey man, that's not really working, they're not going to waste any more time on that. Versus like a guy that doesn't listen, they're going to play the same game, they're going to make the same mistakes. So yeah, that's what I've seen.
So how do you go about, like, maybe not like competing, but say you're going into roll against training partners and things like that, but how do you look at somebody and plan out what you're going to do? Are you like a counter attacker? Do you wait for them to do their thing and then react to it, or have you got a sort of game plan in your mind for each role, regardless of who you're going against, or do you judge who you're going against and think, okay, I'm going to have to do this, that, or this? How do you plan this? I mean, because you seem to be very fluid and you mix it, and you're very controlled and calm when I've watched videos of you competing. So what goes through your mind during a role? How do you prepare for who you're going to be up against?
I don't. So like the approach here that we use is that we don't really. Of course, you need to prepare for different opponents and stuff. They're going to be more aggressive opponents. They're going to be more passive opponents. But what we really work on is the position. So if you understand the position that someone puts you in, it's like that's where the battle is. So just knowing all the options from a certain position. For instance, if someone plays like a spider guard, I kind of know like what I need to do to kill the spider guard, and what my opponent's options are. So I think everything kind of stems from that understanding. Like especially at black belt, you need to have a very wide understanding of certain positions and just like how they work and how to counter them. And that's pretty much it. I just, I have a game plan that I would like to use, but I'm always having to adjust. And that's just something you develop from training with a lot of different people, people better than yourself, people not as good, people on the same level. So it's not, I don't so much change my game for the person. It's just the position.
Yeah, I love that idea of actually learning the position. So it doesn't really matter how you get there, you know how to come out of it. Because I spent too long, when I first started going against the person, it was like you tied it to your masculinity. It was whoever won was the better guy. Whoever won was the guy that was more of a man than the other person. So, like if somebody came on top and I didn't know how to get out of it, I would kind of like throw them off, or I'd be pure strength, and I would go home and after a session I'd be really annoyed at myself as I got tapped out. I might have like learned 3 new moves and did something I've never been able to do before. But in my head, because I got, and it was so difficult to switch that off, and I think that's where we really struggle. But how do you deal with the guy that comes in and thinks, he knows it all, who goes in and he roughs up the guys that you're training with, the guy that grinds his head into you as you train, or rubs his forearm in your face as he's passing, and, the kind of douchebag, the one who takes everything as like 100% rather than just kind of enjoying it and helping the newbies. And how would you deal with somebody like that?
We don't have too many of those, but so a lot of the training I do just for being smart, like just so I don't get injured or anything. I don't do as many regular rounds, where I think you're going to see that kind of behavior more. So we'll sometimes, or I think the majority of my training is positional sparring. And so we'll do a position. So just to use that spider guard example, say I'm on top, my goal is going to be to pass the spider guard, and my opponent or my training partner, his goal is going to be to sweep from the spider guard. And so regardless if I pass or he sweeps me, we just reset. And so I feel like that takes a lot of the ego out of it. You're not really like, it's not like I'm passing and crushing him, or he sweeps me and crushes me and, puts me on knee and belly and stuff like that. So I think you can change the training so that the ego is not really that big of a factor, I think. And also, just talking to people, if someone's behaving kind of like an asshole, like, hey man, you need to calm down. And I think it just not really tolerating that kind of that behavior, because it really takes away from just the atmosphere and the environment that I like to have, like that learning and sharing environment, which is where the progress is going to happen. You're not going to progress if someone's just murdering you all the time.
Because we've got a couple like that who, it doesn't matter what they're doing, they're going 100% in every role. Every time they're going against a new white belt, they're throwing them around, they're choking them out. Whereas, like I'll start maybe with somebody, and if I know that they're a 2-tab white belt, I'll sit there and go, okay, I'm not going to do my usual attacks, and I'll play my back more rather than be top pressure game. I'll show them if they've maybe don't know how to sweep, or I'll give them a submission to try, or I'll start in a bad position. And I think that's the part of jiu-jitsu I love. It's the people stop and they'll say, oh no, you're not choking me right there, pull your arm around here, or that's and people are actually willing to kind of let themselves get up and get beaten and to help other people, because it makes you a better person by helping other people. How did you fight? I mean, you've got an amazing personality. Every time I've watched a video of yours, you're laughing, you're joking, you seem so friendly, and you seem to love life. Where does that come from? Is that from the martial arts, or were you always like this? Because your outlook in life, you just seem so happy with everything, and it's lovely to see in your videos and how encouraging you are with your students. Where does that come from? Is that your upbringing, maybe?
Maybe. I'm sure my upbringing plays a large part. Actually was kind of shy when I first started jiu-jitsu, so I was kind of quiet and shy, and it took me a while to kind of just come into my own. But I think if you're doing something that you love and that feels right in your heart, that's how jiu-jitsu is for me. I think you can't help but be happy. And especially because I'm here in Sweden, the people are kind of more antisocial, so that forces me to be more outgoing. And I think it just makes me more relatable, especially for new students. I think you don't really, at some schools, there's a big divide between the new students and the higher belts. They almost don't interact that often, kind of.
It's weird, isn't it? It's when it's almost like sometimes people forget that they were beginners themselves. You forget that it's I usually try and make an effort when I come on. If I see somebody new, and I'll say, oh, how you getting on? And I'll try, I know what it was like when you're sitting there shitting bricks, basically, because you see these guys doing amazing stuff and throwing each other around, and you're like, oh, what have I let myself in for?
They're all looking scary and stuff. You're like, oh my god, these are killers.
Oh yeah, it's when you see stuff, and when I first started in the white belt class, I was like, yeah, I'm throwing people around, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, no bother at all, and I was beating blue belts. Then we went into the what we call GB2, which is the sort of advanced fundamentals, and submissions were allowed. And then I realized how much people have been taking it easy on us, and I think I got guillotined in my first takedown attempt, and I thought, yep, that's where they keep the ego, and
you're like, all right,
yeah, it's that moment of just oh, there's another side to this, and you realize how good a help these guys were, and I've made some amazing friends from it. And how do you think jiu-jitsu's changed you? Have you found that your travels, your competing, has it kind of changed you as a person, or do you think you'd always been the kind of guy you are now, regardless?
I think just the people I've met and just the trials I've gone through has definitely helped develop me, because I started a little bit younger, 15 or something. So I think it's kind of hard to separate myself from jiu-jitsu at this point. I've just done it so long. It's really been a lifestyle for me. So I don't think I would be the same person if I hadn't trained jiu-jitsu or met the people that I've met through jiu-jitsu. So I believe it's made me a better person, a more calm, just more considerate person, more fun person. I hope, but it's definitely developed me, and that's something I always think about. My instructor, he always preached that jiu-jitsu is like, it's a way to develop yourself, to make yourself better. And I mean, there's some bad apples out there. We got, just no lie, there's some bad jiu-jitsu people out there, but I would like to feel, or like to hope that most jiu-jitsu practitioners are pretty good people. They love training, and they don't want to hurt anybody, and they love being on the mats.
So I hope you're enjoying this interview as much as I did recording it. I just want to take a quick break here to remind you about my affiliate deals, special offers, and listener exclusives that are available. If you go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliates or click on affiliate deals in the ribbon at the top of the page, you'll go to a special page where I outline the special deals I've made with some awesome companies. There are so many special offers, listener exclusives, and discount codes available here, and I'm constantly updating it. Now, there's something here for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're getting a deal for yourself, or if you're getting a deal or a special offer or a present for Christmas or another holiday, or if you're getting it for somebody special in your life. There's something really here for everybody. You can go on and get deals on things like Blinkist, bodybuilding.com, MyProtein, Onnit.com, the Gains Box. If you want to go a bit more XXX, there's like geeky sex toys. There's also some other things that you shouldn't really discuss at work, shall we say. Then you can get other things, which include MyProtein. There's real social dynamics materials there. There's Tactics, the Fantasy Box. There's the Protein Works. There's Under Armour. There's pretty much something there for everybody. So go to www.nextlevelguy.com/affiliate, or if you're already on the site, click affiliate deals in the banner at the top. These are always getting updated, and there really is a deal and a special offer for everybody. Also, make sure you subscribe to the social media, because that's where I post a lot of it too. Now, let's get back to the interview with Alec. So how do you enjoy the transition then between coaching and competing and, just being your plain self? How do you find that between, you're maybe got a competition coming up, but then you've got to teach a class of some new guys, and there's maybe like this guy spazzing out and throwing people around. Every gym's got a couple of them. But how do you find that transition between coming in and having to focus on an upcoming competition to coaching the new guys to coaching the advanced guys? Have you enjoyed that? Has it developed your understanding of things, of life, and do you think it's made you a better person from that side of thing? And have you found anything that you've really struggled between the two, coach and competitor?
I think coaching's definitely made me a more patient person, and just it's not easy. Like, I just want to let people know that coaching's not easy. There's always going to be people that are, quit jiu-jitsu, or, they're just not going to like your style of coaching. I think you just have to realize, if you're the coach, you kind of set the example for what environment that you want and the training that you want. So in my classes, I teach a lot of no-gi classes. I have a very good core group of guys that like to compete, so that helps me with my own training. It's like today I did the private lesson with some of my students, so that was very beneficial for us. But it's hard. It's a hard balance, coaching and competing. I don't take that very lightly. I think that to a certain degree you might need to separate that. So, for instance, if I'm in Sweden and the guys are competing, I probably will prioritize their training over like mine, for maybe just for the tournament, or like I won't try to compete as much when they're competing, so I can put more attention on them. But say I have like a major tournament like ADCC or something, I will take time off, my personal time, to focus on my own training. So I even now I'm here coaching in Sweden, so I make sure that there's times where, of course, I have to cover my class, but I also have times where I can just train or drill or something. So I'm not always in that coaching role. So you got to balance that out.
So if I was to say you had like a schedule on your computer or whatever, and this was for you to, say you had a competition coming up, how do you change? Like, are you always like 2 training sessions a day and you're going to hit the gym, or do you look at like your current game plan and analyze it and think, okay, I need to work on the X area of my jiu-jitsu, or do you work on building your game plan? How do you plan and train for competitions? Do you have a kind of standard approach compared to teaching? Because you seem to do phenomenal against guys of all different shapes and sizes. So, and I mean, I liked your site, but I can't get into the short guy guard because I'm 6'3". But yeah,
Oh yeah, you're too tall. Sorry, buddy.
It drove me crazy when I seen that. I was like, come on, but, where's the big guy love? Where that maybe didn't come out quite right, but
we'll do the tall guy guard next.
So, but how do you go about it? Like, if I was to watch you train for this, because I'm now at the level where I want to start really pushing this and getting in, because I used to never bother with the Berlin boas, the lapel guard and stuff like that, but I'm wanting to get into all that kind of stuff now. So how do you go about developing your game? How do you keep evolving and being that guy that people are really excited to watch?
That's a difficult question. I think you should. I'm always looking outside of myself. I'm watching like the tournaments and seeing what are the young guys using. What do I need to look out for? I'm watching like the leg lock guys. I'm on Instagram stalking all those guys. Like, oh, what are they doing? Oh, what's this new leg lock here? So I'm always kind of looking outside of myself. I think also just watching yourself compete or train, that's a very good tool. You can see like, oh man, I look really good, or you're like, oh man, I need to work on my conditioning, or oh man, I messed up on that. So I think just getting a lot of feedback, talking to your training partners, maybe they're doing something really, really well on you, like they keep hitting you with something. So my training, it's kind of again, it's like a lot of experimentation. So for instance, ADCC 2019, I mixed it up a little bit. I added some Muay Thai kickboxing to my training. So I've been doing that twice a week, and it's been really helped my conditioning and my footwork and just my timing with like just pushing myself, because I have seen myself on videos where I kind of get a little kind of too complacent. So the striking has helped me with that. I've just been trying a lot of different new things. I keep training with the gi on. I think that helps me too, because there's so many things in the gi you can play with, like the different lapel guards. So right now I've been experimenting a lot, and then before the tournament I'll probably kind of just really dial in everything I've worked on. So I think I'm always looking to keep improving. Even today I was doing that private lesson. I was learning like how to do heel hooks, and I don't know if I'm gonna use the heel hook at all in the tournament, but it was really cool just to understand what the leg lock specialists are looking for, and just their approach to like jiu-jitsu is very interesting. But yeah, I don't do anything crazy, man. I train a lot. I train my positional sparring. I work on my conditioning. I do strength and conditioning. I think I'm at a point now where it's like more is less. So I don't really need to train like 3 times a day. It's more about like not getting injured, and just whenever I'm going into training, I'm just thinking about progressing. So it's not about really the time, how much time I'm spending at the gym, but like, oh man, did I feel like I accomplished something today? Did I Did I improve my understanding of a position? Did I was able to do something a little bit better than I did yesterday?
I like the idea that that you do a lot of like cross training. How have you found that kind of? Has it? Is that something that you would do a lot of? Try a different martial art or a different sport. Did it open up a new way of looking at things? Like kind of understanding. Because I've done a bit of judo training as well, and it kind of I looked at it and thought, because they say like jiu-jitsu's a chess match. And it's like a physical chess match where you're having to use your brain to outthink somebody 3 steps ahead. How do you find doing that? Like with the Muay Thai, did it open up a new way of thinking? Did it kind of make another development and evolution of certain skills, or did it just, like you were saying, give you a bit more kind of push and kind of conditioning and make you a bit harder to kind of like when you were struggling?
I think, man, just like I remember when I started jiu-jitsu, like cross training was really big. Cause I was doing taekwondo, did jiu-jitsu. I don't know. At a certain point, like everyone just started just doing jiu-jitsu. Because I guess the first guys doing jiu-jitsu must have been doing other martial arts just because there was, or more likely to do other martial arts just because there wasn't a lot of jiu-jitsu like there is now. So I just feel like there was more cross training back in the day.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? Is nowadays it's people are very sort of like in little cliques. You see the guys who are, jiu-jitsu's the best thing ever, then the guys who say MMA is the best thing. Well, that's kind of awkward because it's more a mix of everything, I suppose. But then you get guys who are karate guys only or judo guys only, and I just think it's all the same kind of idea. You're just learning how to use your body in a different way. When I first started, I couldn't shrimp properly because my hips were so tight from like all the deadlifts and the squats when I used to powerlift for so long. And now I can actually figure out how to use my body, how to move, how to keep it all as one kind of unit. But I can't remember waking up and not having a niggly, a pain in the elbow, or or I've had more black eyes and I know what to do with. But it just it opens up something, doesn't it? It's like you find out part of who you are, like deep down when you roll. It makes it's very primal. It's very enjoyable to kind of go up against somebody, and it's not. You're like suddenly in society you were taught, don't be physical with people, don't invade people's personal spaces, be polite, be respectful, and then suddenly you've got somebody sitting on top of you, try to choke you out, pulling your lapel round you, and and after it's
like, kill that person over there, go get him, choke him out.
It's so weird, isn't it? It's like that kind of thing of what do you mean sit on there and like really get like hurt him, I love, what I mean? And I found that strange, and I still to this day find it strange that sometimes when I roll, if I'm maybe my head's out of the game and I come in and somebody launches themselves at me, and it takes me maybe a roll to kind of get into the mode of that person's going to come at me. I can't be just nice about it. And I sometimes still struggle with getting in and being dominant or trying to hurt that, trying to beat that person. So how do you, like, say if somebody's listening to this and thinking, I really want to give jiu-jitsu a try, how do they be a good student? What advice do you give to somebody new starting? Is it just learn the concepts rather than particular moves? Would you want them to come in and just be the empty vessel, not think they know anything, and just come in, try exactly as you tell them? Or do you want to see them being like trying different things or asking you questions? What in your opinion makes a great jiu-jitsu student?
I think it's the same thing that makes someone a great competitor. It's just being able to take that feedback, and I mean if you can take feedback, hopefully you can give feedback too. So asking questions is a really great way to learn, especially if you don't understand. You see a lot of instructor or in a class, the instructor will go, "Hey, any questions?" and no one says anything. But like, if you have questions, it's just like, man, you know, I mean, don't ask like a super stupid question, which there are some stupid questions out there, but you know, most times, whatever question you have is probably a question other people are gonna have too. So just have an open mind. That's what I do. Like, even if I kind of know something, I'll just kind of, you know, say like a lower belt wants to show me something. Sometimes that happens to me a lot of times. Lower belts wants to help me with something, or they're really excited about something. So I'll go, hey man, can you show me? So just have an open mind, try to learn and listen. Try the technique, even if you suck at it, like try the technique, because you know it's not all techniques aren't the same. They're not always going to come to you very easily. Like the shrimp for you, it's just something you got to put a little bit more time and effort into, and then you know when you get it, like it's gonna stick. So don't like beat yourself up trying to like learn techniques, or if you're not where you want to be, it's okay. You know, there's so many resources now. You know, you have YouTube, you have private lessons, you have all these online instructionals, you have flow grappling. So I mean, there's no reason not to be good at jiu-jitsu. It's if something's going to hold you back in jiu-jitsu, it's probably going to be yourself more than anything else.
When I look at who I am now compared to when I first started, it's like they're completely different people. You know, I can actually move, I can flow, the flexibility, the movement, it's amazing. But to try explain to somebody new why somebody who's been doing it, who knows about the leverage point, who knows about to get the hooks and how to use the spin to get like into the arm bar, or where the pressure point, you know, and like that's why I think a lot of guys struggle is you come in and the little girl beats the really big strong guy because she knows how to set up the armbar correctly. She knows where they're going wrong, or you know, and it takes a while for you to kind of go, oh, but then to ask for advice and take it from there. So what would you want to see in, say, 6 months with a new white belt? You know, would you just want them to just come in and train? Would you want them to be doing yoga and stuff like that? Would you just want them to keep it fun? You know, what would challenges would you set to guys listening who are wanting to give jiu-jitsu a try?
I think, you know, if you're going to train, just go with the purpose. And I think that's the only way you're going to see improvement in your jiu-jitsu game. Like, you should have an idea, maybe not your first day, but, you know, maybe the first few weeks, you should have an idea of what you need to work on, or your instructor should kind of steer you towards what you need to work on. And so I mentioned it earlier, but we kind of just, if a new white belt's coming in, like we go, hey man, you're going to learn the spider guard. And I'm thinking in terms of 6 months to a year or longer. Like, hey, keep working that spider guard, and we'll add details off of there. I know, you know, other schools have different approaches, but we just put them in spider guard, man, and we go, okay, here's the spider guard, here's the basics. Okay, work these techniques. Okay, now you're gonna positional spar. And so my goal is that, you know, after 6 months, like, they're good at spider guard. They might not be good at passing or anything else, but they have a fundamental understanding of the spider guard, just from being in that position so long. I think, you know, just once you feel comfortable in a position, you can use that position, that confidence, to kind of pursue other positions and stuff like that. But you need to start somewhere. You know, maybe your school is really big on closed guard, or you know, whatever guard or pass or whatever. Like, really just dive deep into something and understanding the position and all the options you have. And then, okay, once you feel a little bit comfortable in that position, okay, now you can move on to something else.
Because it's quite it's weird, isn't it, though, when you first start, you know, you kind of learn the basic concepts and you think, okay, and then somebody shows you something and it's like they put a light on another bit of the mind map, and you see how that links into something else, and it's like, does your training partner have his knee down? Does he have his arm down? And then it can go off to another way, and then it opens up to another kind of, you know, it's like the flow chart kind of, and you can, it's like the, what do you call it, like the metro underground kind of the maps as they open up more and more, and it's amazing how deep this goes. But something I was really impressed by your videos and stuff like that. I mean, you give amazing content over and over again, but how do you like to relax away from this? You mentioned there going off and seeing friends and stuff like that, but what would I find you doing away from training? Like, how do you shut off from it and give yourself a break and just be, regular Alec?
Man, I just don't take any breaks. I just keep going. I don't know. I mean, I have time where I'm not training and stuff. I like going to the gym. I think that's pretty interesting hobby of mine. I just find time where I'm doing other stuff. So for me, like making videos is fun. It's not just like it's good for promoting myself. But I really enjoy that. I've also done a few blogs. And just talking with people about jiu-jitsu. I just stay busy. I think I just don't let myself really. I don't really get bored. I just I just keep it moving, keep doing something. I just keep myself like just active mentally. I think that's something a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. I see it even online. Like I see all these guys. They have like humongous followings. Like. But they never post anything.
It's strange, isn't it? It's like some people who are like world famous competitors, you don't know anything about them. And you think, oh, that's because they're always training. And then you see guys who, like yourself, who are always winning. And then you see that you coach and you train, you do blogs, you do videos, and I'm like, well, which is it? Like, which way is it better to be? And like I've developed myself so much as a person by doing this podcast, and I love speaking to experts like yourself that kind of open up a new avenue and really make me excited about jiu-jitsu, for example, or business or whatever it is. And I love the fact how much value that you guys give, and it's amazing to see. And you help so many people, and I think you should be super proud of your channel. But what do you want to be from this? Is this always going to be a bit of fun to you and you're competing, or would you like to make this into like a big business? What would you like the evolution of your brand and jiu-jitsu to be?
I haven't really thought that far in the future. My approach now is I'm just documenting pretty much just my life at this stage in my career. I think for me and also my friend John Thomas, like we were kind of like, when we were like winning a lot of like tournaments and stuff as lower belts, like there was no like Flow Grappling or Instagram, or YouTube wasn't really big. So for a lot of us, or for us especially, just like keeping value is we're kind of playing catch up on our side. But that's for me. I just want to keep bringing value, and you never know. I was thinking about this the other day. Like you never know what you say or do that's going to really stick with someone, and it might help them get through like depression or a tough divorce, or just like you never know what you say or do is gonna like have an effect on someone. And I just want to keep putting out positive energy, and keep traveling, keep doing jiu-jitsu, and just keep spreading it as much as I can. I don't really care if I never have like a big following or anything. It's just I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy like making those cool videos and just putting out great content, and hopefully I can just help someone, like someone helped me. So many people helped me in my journey, and they continue to help me. So whatever little bit I can do, so when I'm old, I can look back and be like, man, I was crazy back then. I don't know how I did that stuff, but
Well, you're definitely helping people. It's like every time I come on, even if it was just me, I come on and I look at your channel and I think, has he been watching me train? Because that has just fixed something that's a problem, and that's the beauty of your channel. You come on and you look at stuff that most people don't want to talk about. It's like, why are you messing up in this position, or how to fix this, or how to avoid getting swept when you're passing. A lot of guys look at it, all the cool stuff, the how to put on the Kimura from here, and you're like, but how did you get there? How did you, I'm getting caught before I even get that far. And you fix so many of my problems, like this, what some of us see silly problems, but maybe stops people progressing. They think, oh well, I just can't seem to get past there, and eventually they drop out. And that's what I like about your stuff. You're so relatable, and you make it enjoyable, and it's great to see somebody at your level kind of just be open and experiment and be open, to discussions and listening to people like lower down, because there are unfortunately a lot of people with too big egos. And I mean, I still struggle with mine. I still struggle not to tie up who I am as a person in each role, and I've come away on a Friday night and been still pissed off on a Sunday about how I performed. And how stupid that is, because you can't change it. But in your head, sometimes it's, as guys, we like to think, oh well, this could be the matter of like bragging rights and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if you come away as a better person, and I think that's what you're helping people become. So you should be really proud of what you're doing. And is that what you think makes a good man? Like if you had to kind of sum up what you wanted from life, that you helped other people?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I would like my legacy to be like when I'm old. I would like people to remember me fondly. I don't want them to be like, I was an asshole. He never helped me or anything. And I just think, just the way I've lived my life is a reflection of like my family and my instructors and my students. Because you're never, one man is never an island. One man is not an island. Just so many people have helped me get to this point. Like I couldn't do all this shit by myself. So I think jiu-jitsu is a great tool that a lot of people can use to develop themselves. And I don't know if you never know if you're a great man or not until it's all over and done. But I hope people get some benefit from me.
Because there's a old, I'm trying, was it Ed Milet? I think I've mentioned this before, where he said, like he's a Christian, and he says he wants to go up and God takes him to one side and says, here's the guy that you could have been. And he wants the guy that he meets, he's had all the experiences that he could have potentially had. He's done everything that he wished he had done. He wants to meet that guy and the guy say, yeah, we're twins. And I think I really like that idea. I mean, I'm not religious, but I like the idea of it, looking at it and going, like what you could have been to who you actually are at that point, and thinking, yeah, I gave it a good shot. So how would you, if you had to sum up your life in a movie or a song title, what would you pick?
There's a song by Drake I was really listening to. I remember this girl broke up with me, and I was like kind of down. I was kind of down, and the song's like "Can't Have Everything." So I think, you just can't have everything, and just focus on what you're good at. That's what I've done. I've focused on what I was good at, and things that don't work out, like you just don't hold on to them. I haven't held on to them, and I just keep pushing, man. I keep pushing. I've far surpassed like the skills that when I first started. I remember I was thinking, I just want to be really good at jiu-jitsu. Like I far surpassed like my wildest dreams. So I'm just living every day, just seeing what I can do, man, and just trying to push myself.
Well, one of my favorite questions to ask is, you've got a dinner party organized. You're at the head of the table. You've got 5 empty seats. You can have people who are real or fake, alive or dead, but this is your dream dinner party. It can be relatives, it can be like Genghis Khan, it can be whoever and anybody. Yeah, who do you want to invite to your ideal dinner party?
First one, because I was watching this documentary, got to bring Michael Jackson back. Michael Jackson. So I can ask him if he really did that shit. So that's one down. I don't know. I would like to talk to like Musashi or someone. That would be kind of cool. Just because he's like the father of martial arts and like mindset and philosophy. Just to pick his brain and see like just to clarify stuff, because I read his book and I was still like, man, what was he saying? Like, I don't know, so many people. I'm sure some relatives that I have that I miss. Like Helio, bring Helio back. Bring Helio back. So it's about 3 or 4. 2 more. You said it could be fake, right? Fake
Yeah, it could be like TV characters. It can be anything.
Oh man, this is really
I've
hard.
had somebody that came out with, was it Jesus, George Lincoln, and then it was like Genghis Khan or something like that, and I was like, that is a weird one, like, you know. And it's, I don't know, it's meant to showcase like what you like, who you are as a person, your influences and stuff like that, but I don't think I could answer it. I've got so many different ways I could go down, and you know, it's kind of interesting because like you can see the martial arts focus that you have, you know. But I mean, was there a TV character or a film character maybe when you were younger that really kind of inspired you, or that you wanted to be like?
Yeah, I'd probably say Bruce Lee. I'll bring Bruce Lee back.
Yeah, you're bringing them back. You're like the resurrection stone in Harry Potter.
Bring you back. You're coming back.
Because that's why I loved your videos. You know, when I looked at like you had all of like the anime characters and you had all the kind of cool titles, and I was like, yeah.
I'll bring Goku.
Good.
I'll have all the martial artists in my.
I like it.
But then they will want to fight. They will all be fighting. We'll be fighting.
Well, it's when I look at some of your videos and I'm like, yeah, you know, it's because you were saying like, oh, you like being a bit of a nerd, and I was like, yeah, this is my kind of thing. Like, I like all that kind of cool stuff, and it's like I used to watch films and I would be watching and going, imagining myself in them and how I would have done it differently, or how would I have been in that scene, and you know. Because I maybe didn't have the greatest. I grew up in a small fishing village, and we didn't have the best role models. You know, we didn't have the like martial arts and stuff like that. So we kind of had to find our own way as men. And you kind of look at stuff and go, oh, like, you know, there's a TV character like Jack Bauer, James Bond, and they teach you how to be men. And I think that's the beauty of media. But with YouTube and coaches like yourself, you're kind of showcasing guys how to be proper guys, how to be good guys, and you know, like take your talents and be the best you can be, but be nice guys about it and stuff, you know. So I know we're well over our time limit, so I can't thank you enough for doing this. But I mean, if you wanted to say one thing that you wanted people to remember from this, what would it be? You know, what would you want people to remember from it? From
the podcast?
Because I've got to have you on again and cover like 60,000 other concepts and questions, but you know, I just wanted this to be like a showcase to get my audience to know who you are and follow your brand, because you are an awesome coach. But what would you want people listening to take from this?
I think just follow your passions, and I think you just live your life. You know, don't really worry about anyone else. And just find what makes you happy, and that's. I don't want to say you're gonna make money from it. Like, I don't make a lot of money from jiu-jitsu, but like, I don't regret anything. I'm kind of like semi-retirement, pretty much. But man, I like, you know, I wake up and man, I enjoy every day, and I'm happy. It doesn't matter if it's Monday or Sunday. I'm happy to, you know, just, you know, do what I'm doing, and I don't really have any regrets. So I think you should pursue a life that kind of gets you closer to that lifestyle as much as possible. Don't just waste your life working for other people and not taking care of yourself. So that's what I would like people to take from this podcast.
Yeah, and it's, you know, there's that kind of thing of like, stop living for the weekend, build a life that you enjoy throughout it. And I think that you mentioned there, you know, you don't care if it's a Monday or a Sunday. You're enjoying life, and I think that's.
I don't know what day it is. I just kind of get up. Oh, I got to teach. Okay.
I love that attitude you've got. You know, it's like kind of you're in the moment. You're enjoying life. So my second last question is one of my favourites. It's, what's an unusual fact about yourself that, you know, maybe people don't know about you? I think it was your nickname because
Oh man.
the way you wore your trousers, your gi pants a bit lower than usual. But is there something that really surprises people when they learn about you?
I think more here is that I study math. Like I went to college and stuff. Which I guess jujitsu guys aren't doing anymore. They just go full time into jujitsu from high school or before high school. Um, I don't know. I guess that's it. Like used to be a nerd, still am, I guess.
Nothing wrong with that. So what kind of things would you nerd out about? Like if I was to look at your DVD collection or your computer games or I don't know, stuffed toys or whatever, what kind of things do you nerd out about?
I mean, it's kind of more accepted now, but like anime, manga, stuff like that, like Marvel movies and stuff like that.
What's your take on the latest kind of the Thor movies and stuff like that? If you had to be one of them, who would you pick?
Captain America, man, all day. I had to be Captain America. He's such a clean cut, all American. I mean, some of the guys I fight in tournaments, they're kind of like Captain America. I don't know what they're on, man.
I love that. When you see the likes of Thor when he comes down after he's lost his eye, I kind of dipped in and out of them, and then he's just wanting to batter Thanos, and I love that scene where he kind of comes in and he's just ready to start.
Yeah, he's like, "Where's Thanos?"
It's that kind of. I get a kick out. I've not really kind of followed sort of anime and stuff like that, but I'm kind of getting into it a bit more, and I noticed that there's a lot more shops and stuff opening up now, and it's like pop figures and all these kind of things, and it's become a lot more mainstream. Because in my sitting room, I've got pictures of James Bond, Wolverine, Spartacus, other kind of guys and characters inspire me, and I love that kind of stuff. Like I went and did a seminar with DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, when he does his yoga. Yeah. Awesome guy. I've interviewed him a couple of times.
He's based out of Atlanta. I used to drive by his studio all the time.
Have you ever given it a try? It's absolutely awesome.
I need to. I'm going back to Atlanta next week, so maybe I'm going to have free time.
It's one of those kind of things that you do that could be life-changing as well. Like, it really kind of helped me get back into shape, and he's such an inspiring guy. Mad, but he's inspiring,
I love that video where the guy, couldn't even walk, and then he did the DDP yoga, and then, man, that's amazing.
There's the one about the rehabilitation of Jake the Snake Roberts, and what he did with him and the guy Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And you see how jiu-jitsu can do for some people, yoga did for them, and the concepts behind it, and trying to just to get them to give them a passion back, or give them a focus in life, and how amazing it is. Yeah. You really should check out, and if you get a chance, go and do it, because
Yeah, I'm gonna be in that area, so I'll definitely try.
He makes yoga cool again. He makes a masculine version of it. You do the hulking up and touchdowns and all this kind of stuff. It's cool to do. It's not the spiritual side of it. Mm-hmm. It's the wrestling mixed with yoga. It's awesome. Well, I really cannot thank you enough for doing this. There's so much I still want to cover, so we've got to get you back on, but. If somebody's listening, they want to find out more, find out about what you're doing, keep in touch with you and social media and all that kind of stuff, how would they go about doing it?
Super easy to follow, guys. Just follow me at Alec Baulding, not Baldwin like the actor, Balding like you losing your hair. You can follow me on pretty much anything, IG, YouTube, Facebook. And if you follow my Instagram, I'm trying to post a little bit more of my training, so you guys can get more of an insider look on what I'm doing and just my thought process. So I think that's kind of cool. A lot of athletes don't do that, so I'm just trying to keep experimenting and see what works.
Well, everything will be in the show notes. I really cannot thank you enough. I've got to get you back on, and just keep doing what you're doing. And you've made a major fan of me, and I can't wish you anything but success for the future.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
No.
That's it for another week. Thanks for listening. Absorb it, practice it, use it. Until next time, keep trying to hit that next level in your life.